Hello, beautiful soul, and good day, and welcome to the 3-year 2019. Today we have Shanthi Yogini, and this is Permission to Follow Your Inner GPS, Your Inner Guided Purpose Soul Path. I am your host, Angel Lady Terry Marie. And without further ado, allow me to introduce this beautiful change maker soul. She is amazing. We've just recently met, and I already love her energy and what she brings to share with all of us. She is, Shanthi Yogini is a yoga liberator and leads a movement called Liberate Yoga, Liberate You, Liberate the World, with a mission to free yoga from being chained to a mere fitness exercises. She promotes spirituality through yoga and spiritual leadership through yoga, which can turn in free individuals from any limitation or misery. Please help me welcome this beautiful lady. Hello, gorgeous. How are you? And welcome.
Oh, thank you so much, Terry. That was a beautiful introduction about myself. I'm so honored and blessed to be here with you.
It is an honor and a pleasure, and we were giggling before because this is actually the third start, and we thought it was appropriate, or at least I did, for January 3rd in our 3-year. Please, beautiful, tell us a little bit about you and what you do.
Well, like you were saying, Yoga Liberator. So currently, of course, I have a long path before, but maybe from the last 13 years, so I dedicated my life to teaching yoga. And when I mean yoga, of course, immediately what comes to someone's mind is yoga poses, something to do physically with the body on the mat. But what I am really teaching is the ancient yoga that was brought to the humanity. It was given to humanity thousands and thousands of years back, and that was given as a way of life, as the science of how to live. So that is what I am passionate about bringing to the world, and I have been at it for this many years, trying to tell and train people in how they can incorporate this yoga even in just 2 minutes in a day. And they don't have to go to a yoga class or going for years together and still not feeling confident about what to do. But I am passionate about training them so that even if they have 30 seconds, 40 seconds, 1 minute, as they go about in the day, as they meet challenges, as they feel tensed, disappointed, and all these emotions don't come once a week before your yoga class. They come anytime. And how can we use the wisdom of yoga to address those and come back to our centeredness, to our inner being, where we feel really harmonious and peaceful at any time, and full of energy to face challenges as they open themselves up. So that is where my current journey is.
I love that. This is the first time. I'm not going to pretend I have a lot of experience or knowledge about yoga other than going to a class once a week or something like that and doing the poses, which always look so amazing. I'm not sure I'm ever going to get my body to even do anything like that. But to now learn that it is a complete whole, like a wholeness of, you are incorporating everything. And so can you tell us, without going into too deep, but can you share with us what it means to have a yoga, a wholeness of it rather than just the poses, please?
Yeah, sure. So since the yoga is the science of how to live, and exercising or doing something with the physical body, the yoga poses, is just one component of it. So if you take yoga to be a huge tree, then yoga poses is just one branch of it. So there are many other branches because our life deals with many other things, not just exercising or moving the physical body. So it has things we do every day in life. We eat so many times in a day. So how does what we eat impact our body, our mind? I know about body a lot is being told by others, like eat for health, and
Mm-hmm.
they mean mostly physical health. But here, mind is given a lot of importance because mind is the master of even the body. And so, how does what you eat impact your mind, and in turn it can control the body? So eating is one aspect. Then most important, even before eating, is the breath, because breath is something we don't do intermittently like eating. We do it constantly. I mean, from the time we are born till we leave this earth, it's always there. So that has a great impact on the body and the mind. And how to tap into the power of the breath. Are we even first breathing right? How much importance we are even giving, how much awareness we are putting into it, how consciously are we breathing, how deeply are we breathing, and what is the procedure even? Because I notice as I teach that for at least 60-70% of the people, the breathing is complete opposite of what it is supposed to be, even the very basic breathing. And so it simply means we have to relearn it and we have to give attention to it, because breath is so much interrelated to the mind, more than even to the body. And and of course, other than these two, the values, the habits, the attitudes, um, so all these things together form what is yoga. And of course, the last stage of yoga is meditation. So because people think of yoga as physical exercises, they think yoga and meditation are two different things. But
Right.
actually, in the science of yoga itself, meditation is the last stage, and everything we do in yoga is, every stage prior to meditation is a preparation for meditation.
I love that. And it actually is body, mind, and spirit, the whole thing, not just pieces and parts. How
No.
interesting. I love that. So tell us, how did you come to the point so many years ago where you just knew, you still know, that you are here to teach the whole rather than just one branch?
Um, Great. So when I grew up as a little kid, my house was one which was following the yoga way of life,
Okay.
because my ancestors were also all yogis, and yoga poses was not practiced in my house. I was not taught that by my parents, but all the other aspects to deal with the mind, to deal with even more than the mind, the intellect, the one with which we discriminate the good and the bad, the right and the wrong, and what to do, what not to do, what will help me, what will destroy me. So that kind of the decision making faculty. So how to work on that, and how to purify the inner mind. So all these things were part and parcel of life. And again, I was talking about the food. So what kind of
Mhm.
food to be eaten, and what will bring calmness to the mind, and what will disturb the mind? So all these were followed. And so I grew up into that kind of an
Okay.
atmosphere where I also, then as I grew up into my pre-teens, teens, I was also introduced to other yoga texts, and they weren't really called yoga texts, but they were texts that help in living our life even better, to have more inner strength, confidence, and feel more inner joy. And I was introduced to them, and I, but because they are related to yoga, they are related to the way of life, I call them all yoga texts, because yoga itself means really uh, union. That is the literal meaning of
Oh,
the word yoga. So in the original language of Sanskrit, that is Sanskritam, it is called yoga. So yoga comes from the root word yuj. Yuj means yoke. So even the English word yoke comes from this. So yoking is uniting, so joining, connecting. So that is what really yoga is. And so all those texts are something that teach us how to feel connected to everything in the world, to everyone in the world, how to feel that oneness. So that is why I call them yoga texts, even though my parents didn't tell me, we are now introducing you to yoga texts. They didn't. so so I grew up like that. And of course, then in my 15-16 year age, when I came to, that's when I learned from somebody else yoga poses. And so I grew up with all this knowledge, but I made some mistakes in life, and I went ahead to study engineering. And when I wanted to actually start my studies, my father told me, "You're not slated to be an engineer. I see more of the teaching qualities in you, and I think you should really study to become a teacher." But at that time, it was very prestigious to get into an engineering college, and I got a free seat, like through merit. And I said, "No, I'm not going to let go of it." And finally, he's a person, he never compelled us into anything, but he always told us, what would really help us, but gave the choice. And I didn't listen to him, even though I regard him as my guru. He is, even though he's no more in the world, and he will be. But still, I didn't listen. I said, "No, this is what I'm going to do." And he said, "Fine." But I realized, even as I was studying, I realized, like, yeah, that's not that electronic stuff. That's not what my brain is about. Like, I'm more a people's person. And he said, like, "Okay, it's too late. You're already in the mid. You just complete, and and then you can decide where you want to go." And I completed. I went into the engineering line. I taught in an engineering college, which was really, really very fulfilling for me. But then I went to get more practical knowledge. So I worked in software for about like 9 years. Then I came here to the United States for a software job. And at that time, due to one more mistake I did, where I didn't again listen to my father, and so I realized, that faith is so important. Faith, especially in people who are looking for your good.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is what translates to faith in the higher power, that everything is happening for good, and that kind of surrender, which on afterthought, I realized I was totally lacking it. I felt I was so full of arrogance, and so that's what made me really obstinate in my decisions. So out of that, I ended up being a single parent, and my daughter was 1 year old when I came to the United States. So I brought her and came, and so there were some negative emotions in me at that time, like feelings of guilt and shame, and like as though I was victimized, and regrets, a lot of those things which won't help me to operate in my highest potential. So then,
but you know what? I understand the idea and the mindset of those mistakes not helping us, and yet they actually help more people be attracted to you because you can understand and accept them for those parts of themselves. And I'm not even calling them the mistakes, because it's part of what makes you you now. And I can see in your energy and the way that it's around you, that you have successfully integrated what some of us would call the shadow self into the light, so that you are now whole and complete. We always are, but it's a conscious mind that goes, yeah, but. And it actually is helping your clients, your audience, to get that, okay, yes, she grew up in this and she still did these other things, and that makes it easier because now they don't have to be perfect either. They can just be themselves.
Exactly, yeah. So I think at that point, when I realized that I'm not able to operate at my highest potential, I was always the daring person, and now I feel a sense of fear, and why am I not? So the 3 questions I asked myself at that time was, am I present? Am I giving? And am I free? And I had to say no for all of them at that stage. because I felt bound by all these negative emotions. I did not feel that freedom, like, wow. And I wasn't fully present because I had, my mind was working in the past or in the future. And I felt I was not completely present to just where I was and taking it completely. And again, I wasn't giving because I was a very, very talented person. And I used to do a lot of community work prior to coming to United States. And then I realized, like, I'm not even doing anything. Like, I'm just going to work and then coming and spending time with my daughter. And so I had to turn all those no's to yes. And that is when everything I learned in my younger days, they came to my help. They were just there waiting. They were like sleeping, and I had to just wake them up and say, okay, now you all have to make me whole, because I know that that's what you are capable of. And so I restarted all my practice again, my meditation, my yoga poses, my study, my introspection, reflection, everything. And slowly I began to understand there is nothing to feel bad about anything. Like you were saying, everything is helping to just be who I am. So I became even more a stronger person, even more a courageous person. And even more, I realized how much I was missing not waking up every day with that passion and excitement and joy and looking forward to every day without having to think about anything. I was missing all that. And so it was like the healing journey I went through. And yes, I felt whole again. Like, this is my natural state. And whatever I went through during that period was just not me. That is something else, some negative thing, because it didn't make me feel so right at home. And now I could say at that time, yes, I am free now. I'm not thinking about the past. I'm not worried about the future. Yes, I'm fully present. I take in each day as it comes. And yes, I am giving, because I started doing a lot of community work. I began to offer free classes to others, even while I was still working in the software. Then I became like a volunteer entertainer. I was doing Indian classical dance in senior centers. And so it was all like, I came back to my slowly building myself up to the highest potential that I as a human can live.
I love that. In doing all of those things and all of those missteps as the conscious mind makes us feel is really part of how you are honoring the agreement or the spiritual contract to come in and teach others this whole scientific and spiritual way of the yoga practice, which is body, mind, and spirit. It's not just the body.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think more here in other countries, there's so much importance given to the body that only the body part of the yoga was taken, and the branch was being called the tree. So the particular part with the physical part, it is called actually yoga asana. Asana means posture. So the branch of yoga that deals with the physical postures, it's called yoga asanam. But somehow they left off the asanam. They took yoga asanam, but they began to call it yoga. So that is where the whole problem and the misrepresentation and misunderstanding in people's mind came. So when I completed my healing journey, that's when I began to feel like, I can't work in the software anymore. I have a different path now. I feel that whatever helped me to become whole from where I was is a great tool for everyone else to also become whole. And during that whole healing part, I never went to any yoga class. It was all I had to just apply into my life, everything I had learned and known. So I just decided, okay, I'm going to resign my software in the next 8 months. But before that, I want to do a teacher training program, because even though I had known a lot about it, knowing is one thing and teaching is another thing. So yes. I wanted to understand what exactly it is to teach to people, like what are things that, how do I translate that knowledge into teaching? Because everyone may know to speak English, but doesn't mean we all can become English teachers. So you need to go through training.
Very true. I don't think I would be a very good English teacher. Like, yes, the grammar parts, oh my gosh, no, I don't even want to go to that tree. Not at all. So you completed your healing journey. You took a teaching course.
I took one here, and then I went to India. I took a break for 1 year. I went there. I did another teacher training program there, and I also studied even more deeper there. And my father, as I told, was always my guru. So I took the time also to, I took my daughter and put her in a school over there. So she did 1 year of her schooling in India. And during that time, I was also spending a lot of time with my father, because even though he was not teaching in the name of yoga, he was teaching me a lot about life. And I in fact incorporate 80% of what he taught me into my yoga training, because he made me really probe into different aspects of life through his powerful questions, and he would allow me to think and come up with things. So I used the time for doing a lot of other mini courses over the weekends. And so that is how when I came back, I was completely ready to pass on this knowledge.
I love it. You went back to the source of the whole and brought it back to the US, brought it within you to then share with whoever is open-minded enough and ready to understand that the yoga, the physical part, is a branch of the tree and there are two others.
Not just two others, many others.
Many others. Okay.
Many others.
Yeah, don't listen to me. Many others. So body, mind, and spirit are part of the whole tree. Thank you. What challenge or obstacle have you identified and worked through in starting your path in this way? And I know past the courses and going back home to India and then coming back to the US, how have you gotten that started? Because it's a pretty big learning curve for Americans, because it's like the body, right?
Yeah, interesting you asked that question, because that has been a huge journey by itself. Because initially, I mean, even the way I run my classes or teach is not just the contents, but even the way of announcing the classes is completely different from 99.9% of the people who do their classes here. So for me, it has always been, it's never like a drop-in class cards. It's not like people can come whenever they want, because I am a true teacher, and a true teacher is one who makes the student independent of the teacher. So I have to pass on the knowledge to the student in a short time, so that the student can now become independent of me and can begin to incorporate it into their life and make it a part of their daily practice without having to come to me. So that is where now I need to design my syllabus. I need to make sure what exactly in what order I give to the person, so that they can understand and be totally confident to incorporate it. So I started, when I announced my initial classes, it was always like, this is like a 12-week session, and each session is 90 minutes. And you can come for the first session, and if you like it, you commit for the rest of the classes. And of course, at that time, I had no set fees, because in India, the knowledge is never, it was in the past never imparted with a set fee. It was always what the student could give to the teacher, and it was called Guru Dakshina. So Dakshina is offering. So the offering to the Guru, and it is all based on what their capacity is to offer. And so when I started it, I wanted to do the same way, and yeah, I did that for nearly 8 years after I started the practice. I was doing the same way. I had no set fees for any of my services. And even if I had to go and do a workshop somewhere, or do like a talk, anything I did, I was always asking them. Like even if I taught in a school, they would say, how much do you charge? And I would say, how much you think you can give me? Use your most generous heart and tell me for this, winter semester. Pardon me. So tell me for this winter course, how much you can give me. So I always left it to them, and they would say like, okay, will $600 be okay for you? They would come up with something, and I would say, yeah, okay, that's fine. So this is how, whether it was even for individual students. So for me, when they committed, everyone was giving a different amount to me. And they would just write it in an application form in which they fill up everything. So no two persons were actually doing it the same. So it started like that. And but in the last, like you were saying, it is very challenging, especially because after the 12 sessions, they graduate, because I tell them, here is everything you have to practice at least for 90 minutes to 2 hours in your life, and you're not going to do 2 hours in a day or 90 minutes. So you can do varieties for many days. And they learned everything from fundamentals, so they were always confident to know how to do, how not to do. And but it was always a challenge, because once the 12 sessions are over, there may be one person who would want to come back to do more learning. But I never had repeat students, so I have to keep on announcing new and new classes, and then I would graduate them. So it was challenging, and financially it was a struggle, but I knew that that's the only way I can teach. I can never do like what others do, because that won't follow my inner GPS, like you say.
Right. Well, I'm glad you have set fees now.
Yeah, so after 8 years, my students, they actually insisted that I must set fees, because they said, look, Americans can't understand your long answer for the one question, how much do you charge? You have like 2 pages of answers. They have no patience to read all that, and they are confused. Please, for heaven's sake, set a fee. So I said, okay, I said. And then, but as it slowly, getting the students for the class became difficult. That's when my mind said like, gosh, I think I need to do something online, because maybe the people who are drawn to me are all not going to be around the area I live in. So they may be anywhere. So that, I think universe was setting me up for something bigger and bigger. And like, so you were saying, every setback is really not a setback. It is a setup for something to go higher. So gradually the students who were coming to me in person, it kept on dwindling. And I finally ended up with only 1 or 2 students. And I said, I can't do a group class with 1 or 2, because they were not paying me, private fees, private class amount. And so I just had to let go of even that 1 or 2. And I said, hey, this is just not working for me. I can't do for, $10, $12, $15. I can't do this. And slowly I was training myself to be more online, how to do webinars, how to create digital products. And so like that, it went on. And then I realized, like, what I really need to do is train teachers who can understand yoga with all the fundamentals of it, who can understand yoga as a tree, and not the way they are getting trained in this country as just how to do various poses, how to do various postures. And even though postures are linked to the mind a lot, if done the right way, I also noticed that many were not teaching even that one branch properly. Even that was getting colored, modified, and it was more like, gymnastics or fitness exercises, and it was missing the elements to be called yoga postures. So that is where from last 3 years, my journey is now, even though I still teach one-on-one, I still coach people for their specific problems like, depression or anxiety or lack of focus, or even physical ailments like body pain and such other things. And even though I'm still continuing with my digital products, but my main focus has become to train people to become yoga teachers, to train teachers who have gotten some certification, but they want to understand yoga completely, like relearn it the way it's supposed to be learned. So those are the people now I'm focusing on training and giving my energy. And I've actually now digitized even that, because I did 2 batches earlier. So I recorded everything, and now I'm doing to start with the digital version of the teacher training program, and then it will follow with at the end with about 8 days of in-person retreat together, where I can see them, they can see, and we can do more work that we couldn't do in the digital part. And finally they can write their exam, they can do the practice exam, and get certified. So that's where my journey currently is in the path of yoga.
I love it. And on that note, please tell our viewers how they can find you so they can do this with you.
Absolutely. So I this year wrote a series of books, all under the title Happiness, the Key to Success. 12 meditation steps to uncover your joy, healing, and success. So this became #1 international bestseller, and I've put a lot of a lot of material. It started as one book, but because it became so big, I've made it into four parts, like 4 books. And I want to give to all the viewers, listeners, the first book of that, the book 1 out of the 4 book series, as a free gift from me, so they can understand a lot about yoga and meditation and things that I had been telling about what really success is, and how you can feeling happy within is the path to success. So that they can get a free download if they go to www.happiness-the-key-to-success.com. So it's the same as the book title, Happiness
the Key to Success.com.
Yeah, 2 is
Excellent.
T-O, complete word, yeah.
Wow, I love it. Happiness, the Key to Success. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and where can they find you on social media, beautiful?
Yeah, they can search for Shanthi, Yoga to Happiness. So T-O, because I didn't get Yoga for Happiness. So Yoga to Happiness, because my academy, it's called Yoga for Happiness Academy. So my social media, it is Yoga to Happiness. T-O.
Yoga to Happiness on social media, the word T-O, and say the name of your website again for the free gift.
Happiness, the Key to Success.com.
Thank you. I wanted to make sure I got it straight. Yes. All right. Awesome. Happiness, the Key to Success.com, and on social media,
it is Yoga to Happiness.
Yoga to Happiness. Thank you so very much. I really enjoyed this, and my mind was so into what you were saying. That's like, okay, I want to make sure the viewers got to you. Thank you very much. I really enjoyed this, and perhaps you'll come back another time and we can explore another branch of the tree. Would that be all right?
Oh, absolutely. I would love to, because yes, breath and food, they are so important branches of the tree. That's something people can relate to. I would absolutely love to be part of your show. I really enjoyed talking to you, sharing with you, and I enjoyed your wisdom during our interview. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Namaste.
Namaste, beautiful. And you, beautiful soul, now you have something amazing to help you change your life from the inside out. And do stop by angeldreamteam.com and get your free gift, Angels, Success, and Prosperity. Become a mover and shaker of your reality. That's angeldreamteam.com. And thank you again for sharing your time, your energy, and please do share this with your friends. You never know. So until next time, have an amazing day.